Mic check, test 1 2. How's it going, y'all? I see you guys in here. Lou's the first one in here. Talk about I'm gonna be up all night. Why'd you have to stream now? I'm up, nigga. I'm up. I'm a late night person. I was born during a full moon, so that should tell you everything you need to know right there. It was also raining, I heard, when I was born, so. But I have always been the late person. I even worked the graveyard shift at my job, so I figured, shit, this game, I do pretty much the same thing, but like in real life. So this will just be like, I don't know, me doing my job and having a conversation with you guys. Hold on, let me switch to my screen. Hello, good to see you guys. You see Tom hanging out in the background here. It's my little co-pilot. He's gonna be here with us today. But I am blitzed, and I'm ready to have something. I'm ready to talk with you guys, ready to chill out and just kind of give my thoughts on some happenings that have been taking place, some shenanigans that have been afoot around the hip-hop space and around the hip-hop commentary space. Around the hip-hop reaction space, just music, just the music space altogether, with a he who shall not be named, but popped in my live and gave me money, thank you. But yeah, a lot of people are not they're not happy with Culture United. People were mad at Justin in my other live, and I'm like, look, I'm not gonna bash Justin. I've been in his scenario before. He genuinely thought that Lupe was a good person, and I'm not shocked at all that he just had to kind of see it for himself, and I'm not gonna really hold that against him. Koala compiled all the reactors reacting. I saw that. I want to check it out. I might even react to it. Which is, it's bittersweet, I'll say that. And one, it's because obviously the reaction video, it emulates a lot of reaction compilation channels, but the bitter part of that is that the Black Alpha, shout out to Black Alpha, he's a reaction compilation channel, and he's also a reaction commentary channel as well. I did not know that until I peeked at his his paid content and everything. But his channel got demonetized because he's a reaction compilation channel, and YouTube's guidelines prohibit the recreating or just the reuse of other people's content, even if it's in compilation format. You can't make money off of it. And so they demonetized his whole channel. He got like a copyright strike. He had to be on Patreon for a while, and he made a whole video about it. I reacted to it, but yeah, it's bittersweet in a way. Like, on the one hand, I'm happy that Koala put the compilation together and everything, but on the other hand, it makes me sad because YouTube doesn't like that sort of thing, I guess, and they demonetize Black Alpha's channel because of it. Yeah, it is, but I mean, that's just how YouTube is. It's still fuck YouTube to this day. Like, yeah, I'll still make money off of my shit, but I'm sorry, I don't respect YouTube as a company. I don't respect a lot of companies and their business practices. So with me being a goth and everything, it's always F the establishment. Like, I'll make my money, I do what I gotta do to survive, because toilet paper is now the cost of a fucking car loan, and it's ridiculous. And so are eggs. You gotta buy eggs off the black market now. But yeah, it's fuck YouTube, because they done screwed over way too many way too many genuine hard working people in favor of these fake fucking scamming ass, grifting ass people. And I don't understand why. As long as they're making money off of it, it's fine. But they'll police content that's not doing anything harmful while also turning a blind eye to the content that is very harmful and vocally harmful to their audiences. So I don't know, make it make sense. But yeah, Culture United has come under a lot of scrutiny and a lot of backlash. One person in particular who has been losing her goddamn mind, apparently, according to the homeboy Diego, she has been following him and really just like laying into him. So I don't agree with that. I don't like that behavior. I think it's petty and I think it's childish. But that brings up a whole conversation that needs to be had. And I'll go ahead and switch to my other screen so we can get this game started. Yeah, Justin apologized because, he genuinely felt bad because he was riding so hard for Lupe only to be proven horrifically wrong again, like I said at the end. But he's got a good head on his shoulders, so of course he's going to be like, "Damn, I tried to have hope. I tried to hold out hope that you were a decent person and that these rumors were all baseless, only to find out that they weren't." I got accidentally timed out. I freaked out. I thought Elle was stalking me. Oh, you're in Asia? Shout out to my Asian homies. I've said this story before, but I'm part Filipino. Asian women thought that they thought I was an Asian baby when I was a toddler. Nah, no pause. No pause. Fast forward, actually. But I am playing a game known as Papa's Mocharia. They made a deluxe version for Steam. So they completely optimized it and made it they made a port for PC. Lord Asprick is Filipino, by the way. Is he? Did not know that. But yeah, I am not helping that stereotype that all the Filipinos are musically talented. Yeah, because my grandmother, like I said, she looked like a short, stocky Filipino woman, and she played the bass guitar, like all the way up until she got too sick. Like that was her whole thing, was that she was a grandma. By that point, she was a grandma and she played the bass. It was cool. I think I heard Bruno Mars might be a little Filipino as well. He's Filipino mixed with some sort of Latino. Because I remember him talking about it, like how his real name isn't Bruno and everything, and the entirety of his album was just like a love letter to Mexican and like Mexican music and Mexican culture. But I also heard that there was some Filipino in there. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, this is the. Let me go ahead and switch over. I am trying to think. Should it be gaming? Gaming? Yeah. Yeah. I'll just move you guys over here, and then I'll just bring up my little thingy here. Bam. Let me make sure that you guys can actually hear this. Turn this off, and I'm gonna bring my other music in just so that there's something to listen to other than the default game music, because that'll get annoying after a while. GG Pablo, hello, welcome. I am playing a game known as Papa's Mocharia. Just because, I don't know, I want to be a barista and talk about hip hop and talk about music and shit. But yes, there is an intellectual war. It's kind of been happening, and I think it definitely started around the 2024 era. So Sorry, I'm gonna make my character. We're gonna be. How do I make my? There we go. I'm gonna be thick as fuck. Oh, and I'm actually like, I'm not tall in real life. Well, I'm average height for my age, okay? But everybody I know is just taller than me for some weird reason. Alright, we're gonna go to our hair. What the fuck did I choose last time? I can't even remember. Holy shit. What the fuck did I do? Because they don't have my specific hairstyle. That's the only thing that kind of annoys me. Alright, we'll do this. And then for our bangs, I wish there was an option. Oh, no bangs? We could do that. Yeah, and then I'll just make my hair green, sure. We're gonna make my skin dark. Even though I'm not like actually that dark, I don't know. I always represent my dark skin queens out here, okay? We are right here in the middle. Again with this. Hello, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm not actually talking about you this time, so I guess you're good. Fucking not once, but twice. But I guess it's kind of relevant, I should say. But there is an intellectual war happening. And people are starting to wake up. And people are trying, like, there's also been a lack of judgment for being, I guess, a nerd. Because I am a nerd. I'll rep that shit till the day I die. I love nerd culture. I love movies. I love video games. I love pop culture. I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I grew up with that shit. I still have old Nintendo consoles. But I also noticed that in the black community, especially, a lot of people were getting bullied for liking those sort of things. But especially from the street niggas. Oh my god. Only for them to turn around and start becoming fucking Dragon Ball Z fans. Like, we all grew up with anime. Black people and anime grew up in the same household. It was mandatory. Like, if you didn't see Dragon Ball Z with your little cousin late at night, you were up until 3 in the morning watching Bleach and watching Toonami. Like, Cartoon Network and Adult Swim and Toonami, they were all in the same channel. Just late night, the anime would play at like 1, 2 in the morning because they didn't think your little badass would be awake by then. But we saw some shit. We sure did. We grew up in that era, and like, it kind of got to the point where being a nerd wasn't uncool anymore. Like, people used to get like bullied for liking anime. Now that's just become a part of our culture. Like, even the street niggas are making Dragon Ball Z references in their shit. Kendrick Lamar made a whole Dragon Ball Z reference in TV Off. That nigga went Super Saiyan while shouting out his producer. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people who are intellectuals, but the way they come off is very elitist, condescending. They look at the average person and I don't know, they kind of feel like they're inferior to them in some way because, I don't know, they don't read a dictionary or an encyclopedia for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's okay to be smart. That's the whole thing. It's okay if you're intelligent. It's okay if you're average intelligent. It's okay if there's a lot of dumb people out here. There's a lot of people who are book smart. They graduated from college, but just as dumb as a bag of hammers. Dumb as hell. Can't tell their left from their right, but somehow they have a PhD in fucking marine biology. And you're like, how? There are corporate executives that are working for Fortune 500 companies who don't know the difference between a desktop computer and a laptop, who don't know the difference between a hard drive and a graphics card. They don't know shit about, they don't know how to use their phones. Shit that they grew up with. They were old as hell by the time this shit came out, so they had time to learn. Who don't know how to use a snipping tool, who don't know how to send out emails. I'll throw my mom under the bus. I'm sorry, Mom. I have to. But there was a long period of time where I had to teach her how to use her own work computer. Even though she worked at a computer ever since it came out. She worked for the government for 40 years. Could not use a computer. And it didn't matter if it was Windows 98. It didn't matter if it was Windows XP. It didn't matter if it was Windows 10. Didn't know how to use it. But I still helped her because I knew it. And I wanted to give that knowledge to her. But I also didn't want to belittle her and make her feel stupid about it. Because I've had people do that to me growing up. People that should have been my mentors, should have been my teachers, that should have been my guidance through life. Instead of handing this knowledge to me because they know that I need it, they would act very condescending. Like, they would give me the knowledge, but it was very backhanded. And if I didn't give them the answer that they liked, then it was, oh, you're supposed to know this. You're stupid. I can't believe this. This is so easy. How come you don't get it? A child could understand this. And like, that's not okay. Especially to a child. I have fond memories of my brother in tears because the people that were supposed to be teaching him knowledge were instead crashing out on him and making him feel retarded because he couldn't answer a question that they thought was simple. And it wasn't his fault. He had a learning disability from ingesting lead. So yeah, he got set back a couple grades. It wasn't his fault. But the fact is that these people, grown-ass adults by the way, who were in charge of giving him this knowledge, were failing him. And instead of using that opportunity to pass down the knowledge that they've accrued and making it digestible for him, he fucking shut him out, insulted him, berated him, slammed things on the desk to induce fear from this child. And black people especially, as intellectuals, we have to do better. We have adopted this white man's mindset of just because we have the same intelligence that these white people have, that all the other black people are irrelevant. We need to get rid of that mentality, especially when it comes to our teachers. Like, you have the knowledge specifically to pass it to somebody else. That's how our culture has thrived, off of gaining knowledge and sharing that knowledge with the rest of the world, because knowledge is power. But it's all in how you give that knowledge that truly matters. Peace and love, Rough Riders. What's good? What's good, M. Reed? What's good? Read the list of everything wrong with Lupe. Nah, I'm done bullying that nigga. I'm done bullying him. I pointed out the behavior. I ran it through the DSM-5. The white people's way of diagnosing mental illness. I used their own statistics. I used their own facts, their own research, and I applied it to this troubled black man. And he gave me money for it, so I'm not gonna change my answer just because I got money for it. Like, it's still narcissist, bro. I'm sorry. That's the whole point of why psychology exists. It's based on behavior patterns. And that's... But that also goes back into the conversation that I was having previously about the whole intellectualism. It's okay to be an intellectual. There's nobody out here saying that black people do not have the right to be intelligent. Where you fuck up is how you dish that intelligence out to the rest of the people who are not on your level. Because it is very unrealistic to say that everybody has the same amount of intelligence. That's just plain wrong. There are entire systems set in place that distinguish some classes of intelligence from others. But that doesn't mean that they can't learn and they can't grow. Because the brain is a sponge of knowledge. It is constantly soaking in stimuli sometimes, and if it's important, it keeps it. If it's not important, it discards it or puts it in the subconscious for later. The whole point of intellectualism is not to position yourself as better than the people who don't have the information. It's to get the knowledge and then spread it with the people around you in order to empower them to do the same. Because word of mouth travels faster than anything. And that's why black schools, that's why we fought so hard to be integrated in the same schools as white people. Because even though our schools were separated, we were still keeping up with them in terms of knowledge. You know why? Because black people back then cared about giving knowledge to their community. They didn't rule anybody out as too stupid or not as advanced. They gave everybody a fucking chance. You know why? Because they wanted to see everybody in those schools with those white people. Not just the ones that they deemed worthy. Why are we gatekeeping intelligence? Why are we gatekeeping knowledge? In any fucking field. Doesn't matter if it's music, doesn't matter if it's psychology, doesn't matter if it's mathematics or engineering. We literally fought tooth and nail and had slurs thrown at our children who were just wanting to go in and learn the same shit as these white people, specifically because we did not want knowledge to be gatekept. So why are we gatekeeping knowledge now? Genuinely, like, why are we doing that? That's not okay. I think it's also a certain level of self-awareness required to be able to help enable those around you to inherit said knowledge. Exactly. Like how you would want your next of kin to inherit, like, your fortune, to inherit your legacy, you know, your wealth, your family name, stuff like that. Intelligence and knowledge is the same way. If you have knowledge of a certain field, I'm not saying you should be ashamed of sharing said knowledge with other people. Because I know there are people that are like, oh, nobody likes the smartest person in the room. And to an extent, they're correct. But what they don't tell you is when they say the smartest man in the room, they don't mean the literal smartest person in the room. They say nobody likes the smartest person that wants everybody to know that they're the smartest person in the room. Like they have to announce it obnoxiously and be like, I know this better than you. You're stupid. Like, no, nobody likes that shit. They don't. Keep holding the port. Okay, so I've never played this actual version before, so I am learning. Okay, and then we need, oh, it's not gonna let me make the coffee? Oh, now it is. Alright, 2 shots of espresso. Got it. It's so dope, Loop. I hope he's still here. I hope he is, because you need to hear this, bud. I think this is an important conversation that we need to have as a community without emotions and personal biases getting in the way. It's not about having the knowledge, it's what you do with the knowledge that matters. You could be the smartest person in the room and still come off as a jackass. And the other smartest person in the room, okay, let me break this down. There's a very, very, very poignant saying that I have acquired, and I keep this under my belt. And it's a quote that says, "Better to be silent and thought a fool than to speak out loud and remove all doubt." That quote is very important here, because people will judge you whether you know them or not. But if you have the intelligence and you have the intellect, why prove that person correct by acting like an arrogant jackass? And basically, and putting down people who don't share your thoughts or your knowledge or your skill level. That's not right. Because just as it's an empathy thing, because just as you wouldn't want somebody to put you down because of your knowledge and because of, you know, your skill level or whatever, you gotta offer people that same courtesy. It's about respect. Alright, I think I got it. So I gotta keep it in the green. Alright, cool. Keep it right there. Got it. Alright, so we're good for this. Oh, shit. Thank you for the flow state, Tam. Bring your bitches. Look, I'm learning new things, okay? What in the fuck? Oh. How do... and then this, I gotta move this side to side. Okay. Yeah, I do this for work all the time. So I gotta like try to position as cleanly as I can. Oh, I did it. Okay. Oh, what? Oh, this is cool as fuck. Oh, that's so cool. I love this. Look at that. Look how sexy that looks. Would you eat that crepe, guys? I would eat that crepe. I'd eat the fuck out of that crepe. Or cannoli. It's a cannoli because it's wrapped in the two in the end. Okay. I didn't mean to insult both the French and the Italians. Alright, let's see. He wants... Alright, let's get our... No milk? Oh, strawberry. Duh. Okay, and he wants his chilled. Ew. Weirdo. What? Just ice cold strawberry milk in there? I mean, alright. If it's an iced latte, I mean, sure, whatever. You do you, boo. One shot of whatever the fuck this is. It's a cannoli. It is a cannoli. It's a cannoli. But yeah, I'd eat the fuck out of that cannoli. It had like pistachio flakes in it. But yeah, back to my point. Like, intellectualism is fine. It's okay to be intelligent. What is not okay is demeaning others or making them feel inferior to you because you hold said intellect. That's like if you're a teacher and when your students get the answers wrong, you troll them and you make them feel stupid and you call them names because they can't get the answer correct. That's not what a teacher's supposed to do. They're not supposed to make them feel stupid and otherwise discourage them from actually wanting to learn. You're supposed to give them the knowledge at their level. Alright, they want chocolate syrup. Bam. Now they want this shit. And that's why I pride myself on, you know, I couple education with humor. Because I know that people learn differently. They do. That's why there's a whole fucking movement, you know, for giving autistic children and people with ADHD, or as they called it back in the day, ADD, like people with learning disabilities, developmental disabilities, people who with behavioral difficulties. Like, it's giving them the same opportunity to learn just like the rest of their classmates without making them feel ashamed for being who they are. If somebody is not a Harvard level intellectual, the thing to do is to package it in a way where they can understand it without making them feel stupid. Because then they don't want to learn the knowledge because they're ashamed of themselves. Like, why would we shame people for wanting to pursue knowledge? That's why they say the best question is a question, or the worst question is a question unasked. And I think I got that from Nunu. Shout out to my sister Nunu Nation. But like, asking questions is how you learn things. But it also falls on the teacher to package it in a way that they will understand. And it's because I'm kind of on the spectrum anyways, where is this, do I have to position it in the right place? Like, oh shit. Okay. I was so confused on how to do that. Alright, so he wants the strawberry. I think I got it lined up. Yeah. And wants chocolate syrup. Okay. And cocoa flakes. At least I think this is cocoa. Alright, so we're gonna... What does he want? Strawberry in there too? I think I got it. Hold on. Bam. And chocolate shavings? I think I got it. Hold on. Bam. Oh, I gotta do it again. Fuck. Bam. Oh, that's hot. I love that. That, I don't know, there's something about the colors, the contrast, the way they bounce off each other. On an artistic level, that's pretty. I've never had strawberry whipped cream. I didn't know if it existed or not. I think I've seen it somewhere before, but I've never actually had it. I love strawberry desserts though. My favorite dessert is strawberry shortcake. I like strawberry ice cream too. I love strawberry dessert. I saw you trolling Elle about her damn wig. Cause she was like enabling this behavior and was like, oh, it's not what you think it is. You're just misreading it correct. You're misreading it wrong. It's just we're mistaking, that type of behavior as, as toxic. And I'm like, no. All right, I gotta use my brain for this one. So we gotta go down here, go here, up here. There we go. I got it. I just needed to think for a second. Oh, so that's what the D is for. It's for decaf. Okay. So they want a caffeinated beverage that's decaffeinated. That I want a cheeseburger with no cheese. Okay, let's make it make sense. I'm sorry that I'm gonna roast a little bit to say I have to. It's in my nature. But yeah, like, why would you, as somebody who holds a certain level of intellect, go out of your way to make people who aren't at your intellectual level feel inferior or feel subpar? That's very dehumanizing. And honestly, that's why I'm gonna say it. That's a colonizer tactic. It's a colonizer tactic to make people feel ashamed of wanting to gain knowledge. It is. Because it ensures that a certain subset of people remain ignorant. Well, if you bully them out of learning, they're never going to want to learn because they're going to think they're too stupid. If you make them believe that they're stupid, then they're never going to want to learn. If you tell them they're stupid long enough, pretty soon they'll start to believe it. If you make reading books illegal, then they'll never want to learn because they'll be afraid of the consequences. White people did it. That was their whole thing, was keep black people as far away from books as possible because they knew the power that we could achieve if we had the knowledge and shared it with the people around us. We are all gods and goddesses lying dormant, waiting for that breath of inspiration to achieve the impossible. Just like how we've been doing. We've been doing it since we were brought over here. We have been making the impossible possible. Bringing joy from pain, bringing art and beauty from tragedy. Why would you want to withhold that power? Why would you want to gatekeep that power? Especially from your own people? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, at that point, it becomes a personal struggle. And the question needs to be asked. You as an intellectual, why do you want to hoard that knowledge to yourself? Why do you not like giving knowledge to other people in a way where they don't feel stupid? They don't feel like you're talking down to them. They don't feel like you're just talking at them. Or that, you're just here to collect a paycheck and nothing else. Oh, fuck. Well, I fucked that up. Whatever. I think I fucked that up too. Alright. Ew. Soy milk? Weird. I've never had soy milk before. I don't know what it tastes like. I like oat milk. Oat milk is good. It's also better for us lactose people because, black people can't really be fucking with lactose that much. It's not a good time. Not a good time for anybody. Sorry, I'm catching up on the chat. Yeah. And genuinely, that's all I was pointing out. Was just, it's not the fact that you are an intellectual and that you're skilled in your craft. It's just about the way you packaged it. It came across as very disrespectful, and I was noting the lack of awareness in said disrespect. And it was consistent. It's not even like you showed a smidgen of awareness in between. It was just, no, you genuinely believe that you were the victim. And I'm just like, no, you're being an asshole. Stop. That's all that's why I was making a point in my other lives to reaffirm that the Lupe situation, the Lupe problem at its core was not about Kendrick. It was about the fact that he was acting like a condescending prick on every platform that agreed with the disagreement about his music. Like, people can have opinions, brother. That's fine. People are gonna have opinions. And it's like, the thing to do is to just take it in grace and be like, hey, my music ain't for everybody. It is what it is. Some people will get enjoyment out of it, some people won't. And that's okay. And then you keep it the fuck pushing. But it's the fact that you just went out of your way to be like, no, I'm super successful. Y'all are wrong. You guys are too stupid to understand. You gotta be a Harvard graduate to understand. Like, no. It's not the way to go about it. It's about respect, man. And it's like, I get it if you take criticism as disrespect, but that's not what that is. There's a difference between somebody giving a genuine criticism about the quality of your work and outright slandering your skill and your fucking lyrics. Nobody said that you weren't a good lyricist. Nobody said that your raps were weak. We just said that shit was too complicated. And I explained this in an earlier episode. Like, it's not even about us being not smart enough to understand. It's about the fact that the lyrics and the references are so dense that you gotta go like 5 layers beneath the iceberg to understand. And it's not even like you can interpret it that way. It's no, you have to go into that iceberg in order to understand what the fuck you're saying. I get it. You want to give people a challenge. That's fine. But it also comes with the caveat of knowing that not everybody is going to want to partake in that challenge, especially if they listen to music on a casual level. Not everybody is gonna want to test their minds like that. Sometimes people just want to let their emotions speak for them. They just want to turn their brain off and let their emotions fly. And typically music has always been that medium where you can do that. Because, as it's a saying on my channel, music reaches deeper than words ever could. You could put all the lyrics and all the fucking deep sub-layers in music that you want. But if it doesn't reach people on an emotional level, I'm sorry, you failed. You failed. That is the basic core fundamental of music in any genre, is to reach your audience on an emotional level. And that's all I said. That's all what's his face from Rap Latte. I can't remember his name. But he was on Culture United tonight. That's all he was saying, is that lyricism doesn't mean art. It just means you're skilled with words. You can have all the technical skill but if it doesn't reach people on an emotional level, then it's just not impactful. That's just how it is. Alright, I don't even know which one is this. And I gotta monitor the other ones and make sure that they don't fucking overcook. I'll go check on it after this. But that's literally what the conversation is about. And all these intellectuals, I'm not gonna say pseudo-intellectuals, because there are people who genuinely know their stuff. And there's nothing wrong with knowing your stuff. There's nothing wrong with being smart. There's nothing wrong with that. You could be a nerd. Spit out those equations, you know, break if it helps you understand the source material better, by all means, do it. Like I said, everybody learns and absorbs knowledge their own way. Alright, so this doesn't take ice. And what does he want? He wants a medium. I didn't even do the last one, did I? I should probably prepare that so I don't have to wait too long for it. He was in Rap Latte too. I thought about that. I was like, that's really funny that, you know, it basically Rap Latte started all this bullshit. And now here I am making virtual lattes. Alright, so they want 3 shots of espresso, 2 ounces. I'm assuming these are ounces. 2 ounces of milk. And they want... Oh shit. Motherfuck. Okay, let's position that. Bam. And they want this on it. Bam. Send that out. Yeah, I know the time isn't going to be very good because I was too busy yapping the whole time. Alright, that one's almost done. I can wait for this. Alright, that one's done. Let's go to this one. So then we got our milk. Charles Brown is dope. Shout out to Charles. Motherfucker is always speaking his truth. Speaking the truth, I should say, because he always bases his stuff in facts. Which, you know, and he has, you know, because he's an OG. He's been around. Alright, that one's ready. I think this one's good too. We're gonna go ahead and put whipped cream on that. And it's people like Charles who, again, he has the knowledge. He has the wisdom, too. That's another thing, wisdom. Which is different from intelligence. It is. And they want a medium for that one. I guess they want this. Yeah, wisdom and intelligence are very different. Intelligence is just a collection of knowledge. That is all it is a collection / hoarding of knowledge. You have knowledge, you know things. But with wisdom, it's knowledge gained through experience. And that knowledge is not just oh, you read a bunch of books and you know this shit. No, you actually went out there and you experienced it. You lived it. And nobody can really tell you or give an opinion about it because you went through it. Unless they went through it themselves, they can't tell you what you know because you saw it with your own eyes. Intelligence is different. It's around the same things, but it's typically knowledge that you gain from something else. Not exactly knowledge that you gained yourself through experience. Which is why wisdom is a lot better to have, in my opinion, in my personal opinion. Yeah, I know why I got a low score. It's because of my time. Help? Where? Oh. Duh. Waited much too long. Yeah, no, that's fine. Oh, nope, not doing that. Okay, they want pistachios. Bam. But yeah, I think wisdom is more important to have, in my opinion, because it's all about experience. Somebody who doesn't have a lot of wisdom but very high intelligence means that they know the numbers, they know the facts, they know all of the equations, they know the statistics, they can throw all of the statistics at you that they can, but they don't know how to cook, or they don't know how to fix something, or they don't know how to drive, or, you know, they don't know how to do something basic required for human survival, or they don't know how to have conversations with people, or, you know, they don't know how, I don't know, they don't know how to bet, they don't know how to gamble, stuff like that. They don't know how to basically go out and do for themselves. high intelligence, low wisdom, because they've had very little experience in those areas. They're still book smart, very intelligent. They can tell you, they can read off the fucking theory of relativity by heart with like two hands behind their back, eyes closed, but they need the wisdom, which is the street smarts, the knowledge of survival, basic human survival. And that is why I will always be in support of wisdom over intelligence, because there are a lot of wise old people who never made it past the 5th grade. There are a lot of elders who have so much knowledge and wisdom to give who never made it past elementary school. Think about that. A lot of our grandmas and a lot of our grandpas, a lot of our great aunts, a lot of our great grandmother, our great grandparents, they never made it past elementary school. They didn't. But it was that knowledge that they accrued through living life that they were able to pass down to the next generation and empower them to actually gain knowledge and do something with it. Don't just hoard it all to yourself, because at that point it's useless. What's the point in having that knowledge if you can't share it with other people? It's the whole point. See y'all, I'm just reading the chat. I see y'all getting along. Ella's another person who is very, very intelligent. She's got the book smarts. She has the technical knowledge. She knows what she's talking about. Except when it has anything to do with personalities, emotions. There's sometimes when it comes to things like that are not, straight out of a textbook, it becomes very much feeling over fact instead of the other way around. Because even though thoughts are abstract, we can still process logic. So if we are seeing behavior that is not healthy, and we are seeing it repeated over and over and over and over again, and then this is the only person who is trying to say otherwise, who is like, no, you're not seeing what you're seeing, this isn't happening at all, you're just interpreting it that way. That's gaslighting. That is dictionary definition gaslighting. You are telling people that they are not seeing what they are seeing, and that multiple people who are all getting the same exact vibes from this person's behavior are all wrong. That is what you said. That is not verbatim, but that is literally what that surmounted to. That whole spiel. That's not okay. Gaslighting your fans is never okay. And we as Black people have been gaslit to hell and back so many times. We have let society, we have let these white people gaslight us into thinking that what we're seeing is not real. That our babies aren't still being slaughtered in the streets because of their skin color. That our children are still not being branded as criminals because of their skin color. That people, that disrespect, very blatant disrespect from these rich white assholes is not real, even though we're seeing it and using their own logic against them. We are able to determine that they are disrespecting us, and they'll still be like, you may have all the facts and receipts, but what you're seeing isn't real. You're wrong. I literally weighed this man's behavior against the official DSM-5 TR, which is the official psychiatrist/psychologist method for identifying somebody with a disorder, with specifically narcissistic personality disorder. Official college taught curriculum. And yet there will still be people who will say I'm wrong. We have video evidence supporting every single topic that I brought up. I went through the entire checklist in detail and then explained the actions that I observed with my 2 fucking eyes. Thank you. The eyes that God gave me. Let's start doing that. Because a lot of y'all niggas are really just not using your eyes. Y'all may as well be a bunch of Stevie Wonders. Stevie Wonder could have fucking seen that behavior. Are you shitting me? Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles could tell you that man is a fucking narcissist. Yet I'm wrong, and I got literal fucking college tested proof. You have all the information and all of the facts, and people will still tell you that you're wrong, especially if you're black. So yeah, while I don't hate the Culture United, I don't like the behavior that Elle's been displaying about this. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with how she's been trying to gaslight the public into thinking that they're not seeing what they're seeing. This is all colonizer mentality, colonizer tactics. Gaslighting, making us believe that our reality isn't real, so they can further control a narrative and manipulate. This is all that is damage control. They're trying to take the narrative by force, knowing full and well that there are copious amounts of video evidence proving them wrong. That just shows you the boldness of this. It is bold because the information is right there. Everything you need is right in front of you on the internet. It's in Jasan's live. It's in MacWop's live. It's in Flex's live. It's in Rap Latte's live. It's in the Culture United's live. It's in Koala's live. All of these different communities saw the exact same behavior. So for you to get up there on that fucking platform and say out of your black mouth with your black chest in front of the black hip-hop community that we're not seeing what we're seeing, shame on you. Shame on you, Elle. As a dark-skinned black woman who is supposed to enrich the community with knowledge, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. Because psychology is not based upon feelings, ma'am. The psychology and the human ability to pick up on patterns and pick up on behaviors and to know that something is wrong is not based on feelings. It's based on instinct. So you're really gonna sit there and fucking tell us that our instincts are wrong? The instinct that protects women from potential serial killers who display this exact same chain of behavior. You're gonna tell them that their instinct is fucking wrong? And then you're gonna sit there and look in the camera while you do it, proudly. You're gonna tell all of these people whose instincts told them there is something wrong with this man. And you're gonna say that they're wrong. And that is where the intelligence versus wisdom conversation comes in. It's okay to be smart, but you have to have basic human instinctual survival skills as well. The instinctual survival skill that tells people when something is wrong. That is why we say listen to your intuition, listen to your gut. If you have a conversation with somebody and their behavior and their attitude and their speech it raises red flags, the red flag concept is literally just personifying the human instinct to detect when something is wrong. It is basic survival animalistic instinct. And you're gonna say that that's wrong? that thousands of people who all displayed the same gut feeling, the same instinct when viewing this behavior, you're gonna say that they're okay. If you're a victim of domestic abuse, or if you're a trauma victim, don't ever take advice from Elle. Never in your life. Because she will get you killed. She will get you a skid mark on the side of the road. That is what you will become. You will end up on the first 48 taking advice from that bitch. Don't ever in your life. Because she will lead you right into the grave. I'm so fucking serious, man. Just Beethoven could have heard that dialogue and been like, "Oh yeah, no, no, this is not right at all. That is not right at all. Hell no, no, but this is not okay. Gaslighting is not okay. That is a manipulation tactic. That is an abuser's tactic, y'all." I can't voice this enough, and I know I haven't even gone back to making the damn coffees, but like, this really needs to be said, because there are too many people trying to change the narrative of what exactly is happening here. And they're trying to gaslight the public into believing that they didn't see what they saw. And like, I've done all the roasting that I can, but yeah, no, Elle, I'm sorry, bro. This is an L. There, I'm gonna use a pun. L, take the L, because this is a loss. The L. Shut up, I'm blitzed. But like, I just don't understand how you, as a woman who have seen our women be exploited and manipulated in this way so many times over the course of our entire lives, you have seen our women go through this type of behavior, and you're gonna sit there and enable it and try and say that people aren't seeing what they're seeing, that, you know, that they're misinterpreting it? No. That is very harmful. That is a harmful message to put out there. As somebody who has survived that type of abuse, that type of, you know, narcissistic wielding of intellect, where they think just because they're smarter than you academic wise, that they're better than you and they can treat you however the fuck they want. They look at you as babbling infants. Which is why I'm saying, keep that shit out of hip-hop. We don't want that here. Because that's not what hip-hop is about. Hip-hop is not about putting somebody above everybody else just because you have a semblance of intelligence. That's not what it was born from. In fact, it was born from pretty much the opposite. It was born because people were being oppressed by these quote-unquote intellectuals at the top. And they wanted to give their voice and speak out against it. That is the whole point of why hip-hop is what it is right now. Because it's fuck the system. That's why rock music exists. That's why punk music exists. It has been fuck the establishment. Oh, they want chocolate sauce first? Alright, cool, whatever. Oh, they want the milk in first. An L for L. And like, I don't, again, like Miss Hummus was saying, I don't want it to be like a roast L session, but she's got to take this L. She has to take it, because it's just, that's not right. You don't gaslight people into thinking that they're not seeing what they're seeing. Because then that blocks people off to future scenarios where, you know, the person may be exhibiting either similar or the exact same type of behavior, but because they've taken advice from this broad, they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong at all. I'm just misinterpreting it. This behavior isn't toxic or harmful in any way. I'm just reading it wrong. And then they end up getting killed, or they end up killing themselves. That is not a good thing that that is not a good message that we need to be putting out for anybody, women or men, because men can get gaslit too. They sure can. You think that men don't go through abuse just because they're men? If anything, women are a lot more, I'll say it, women are masters of gaslighting. They are. Manipulation? Oh yeah, that's right up their alley. I'm not saying all women do this, but women we're elite status when it comes to manipulation, because they've been doing it for years. It exists on both ends, but women just tend to excel more in that category. But on the off chance that you have a man who is also a gigantic manipulating asshole, you gotta call a spade, homie. I don't really know what you gotta call a spade. And I'm not gonna let people tell me that the spade that is very clearly a spade is not in fact a spade. Like, no, fuck you. You're not gonna sit there and tell me that what I'm seeing isn't real, or that I'm just misinterpreting it, or I'm over conflating it, when I have literal factual evidence to back me up. We all have video evidence to back us up. And Elle's gonna be like, oh no, you're just misinterpreting it. You're not, you guys are just reading the situation wrong. You're just reading the behaviors wrong. No, that's not how that works. We didn't adapt these fucking intuition and survival skills to completely ignore them because you want us to. Because what, you think that we're just imagining things because you want to cape and cover for this asshole? No, that's not how that works. Bam. And bam. Alright, let's go. Take your shit. I'm gonna try to do better on the time because I know I tend to yap. I really do. And then when I get passionate, I just stop. I stop altogether and I gotta get it out. Alright, so they want cannoli. Bam. No. Oh, that's the drink. Hold on. How do can I... Okay. So how do I... Okay. Oh, I can't bring it to the front. Lame. Alright, so you're just gonna get your thing without any whipped cream. That's my bad. I totally skipped the whipped cream part. I mean, it is what it is. Doom Brulee. That sounds like a sick-ass band. I'm not even gonna front. Alright, bam. Let's see what you want. What's good, Sasha? Noah's just here roasting the fuck out of you right now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I have no control over people's thoughts and emotions and feelings, and I'm not gonna sit there and dictate. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you don't have the right to feel the way you feel about Elle, because you do. You do. Hell, like, if I wasn't blasted right now, I'd probably be saying the same thing, but I'm not, because I'm approaching the situation from a different angle, because that's what I was taught. You know? Oh. Whoops. Is that... Yeah, that's 3. They want the milk first. I've been a Lupe fan since 07. So this is what I picked up from what he's been putting down. With some close friends with people who seem to have the same mentality. Yeah. Like I said, and like when I said that, somebody in the comments was like, no, he's not like that because he's just a rapper. And I'm like, narcissism is not exclusive to people who aren't rappers. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, but narcissism exists everywhere. It can be anybody can be a narcissist. Doesn't matter if you're a rapper, doesn't matter if you're just a bartender or a janitor. But typically you tend to find your narcissists in high profile jobs. Like your executives, corporate executives, shit like that, because they genuinely want better. Because they feel like they deserve it. But they can exist everywhere. not just exclusive to famous people. Alright, so this, and then I'm gonna make that. We're gonna put that up there. Alright, and then milk. But back to my point that I brought up towards the beginning, that this whole intellectual war, so to speak, this war on lyrical rap, on intellectualism, it started with the Drake and Kendrick beef. Because back then, Kendrick's music wasn't really popping like that. I'm gonna just say it. Not on a cultural level, because people at the time, they didn't want to hear intellectual shit in their raps. They just wanted to turn up and be ignorant. And that's fine. Because that's just how our society was molded. That's how it was conditioned to only respond to this type of ignorant shit. Welcome to the channel, Boog. Thank you for the subscription. We need, what is this, caramel whipped cream? Interesting. Oops. We're gonna go large cup here. But yeah, like, Kendrick's music has always been, it is timeless. It's one of those rare gems where you could go back, listen to it, and it's just, it ages like fine wine. And a lot of these other rappers' music, you know, unfortunately, it ages like milk. And it's not that Dot's pen ever changed. If anything, it just evolved. You know, he developed a new way of attack, he developed new style, he developed new little ad-libs here and there with his shit. He evolved his craft as an artist does, because he took his craft seriously. Alright, so we need the regular cannoli with the caramel whipped cream, or caramel cream. And what is it? The cocoa flakes. Bam. Bam. Hell yeah. And so I think when people hear intellectual, they get there's kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy of, oh, I'm sorry I keep asking all these questions. Oh, I know I probably sound so stupid. And no, because that's not the point. The point of giving knowledge is, you know, not to make them feel stupid about it. It's to be like, okay, well, I know this thing that you don't, so now I'm going to give you this gift of knowledge to pass on to somebody else. It's a gift. That's what it's always been. And the whole point of giving gifts is because you're giving it to them out of the kindness of your heart, because you want to enrich their life in some way, or in some way, shape, or form. You want to be a positive impact on that person, or this subset of people, or this group of people. And so you give them knowledge. I've accrued all this bullshit knowledge. I want to say this, growing up in school, never ever thought that I was smart enough to be put in advanced placement. That's what AP is. I know there's got to be some AP kids in here, somebody that is familiar with the AP classes, but yeah, those are like college level classes that they have in high school, because they test these people's scores, and I don't know how the process is. Maybe they recommend that the student be put in advanced placement based on their scores, stuff like that, based on their test scoring. I always felt like a dumb kid. I did. I always felt like I had, like, that I was doing essays and that I just could never quite measure up to everybody else. I always felt a little inferior to my other friends, because I'm like, damn, their handwriting is so much better than mine, or damn, they're so much smarter than I am. And then when they put me in AP classes and I'm sitting here getting this fucking whirlwind of knowledge and having textbooks the size of Bibles that we have to fill with notes, I'm just like, I don't feel like I deserve to be in this class. Because all the other people, I'm just a normal kid. Hell, I'm taking AP classes alongside regular classes. But because I guess they thought I deserved to be there, they put me in there. But like all of my classmates were in the Science and Math Academy. So they had the graphic calculators and the big book bags and the dusty old Reeboks and New Balances, and they took shit like calculus, pre-calculus, advanced statistics, economics. Shit, there was even a Japanese class up there, and they had like a whole section of the building that was specifically for the Science and Math Academies. Shit, they were doing robotics, building robots, coding, learning code. And I'm just like, why the fuck am I here? Why are you putting me in the same place with all of these people? And it's like, I always felt so fucking inferior. But the teachers, I felt like they kind of understood how I was feeling. And so when they gave this knowledge to even the smart kids, they didn't try to they didn't talk down to them like they didn't know the material. They knew they didn't know the material, because that's the point of being a teacher, is to give these kids the knowledge. And so they always packaged it in a way where I didn't feel like a fucking idiot. They were like, we get it. You guys are here, and you may all not be in the same program, but that you were put in this fucking class for a reason. And they made me see that clearly I was recommended for this class for some reason. Like, the numbers didn't lie. And as much as I felt like I wasn't smart enough or worthy enough to be in those classes, they still put me there. So I had to work my ass off, and I had to prove that I was in fact worthy of being in that class. Even though I didn't feel it, I didn't believe it. But I had to make them think that I believed it. And over time, they did help me see that in myself. That I was worthy of being in those advanced classes. And that's what a teacher is supposed to do. Not exactly gas them up and fill their head with a bunch of lies and delusions, but to show them their raw, natural potential and be like, this, I see great things in you. And so I'm going to nurture this so it can grow into something huge, so you can pass that knowledge down to somebody else. I think I made this analogy already, but being a teacher and giving knowledge to people is like growing a garden. The seeds are there, but it doesn't mean that the seeds are incapable of growing. They're not flowers yet, but it doesn't mean that there isn't potential. And so you as the gardener have to make sure that you water the plants, that you give the plants sunlight, give the plants the proper nutrients, the proper food. You don't bunch them up all together. You make sure to periodically check on them, and you nurture that garden until it blooms into its full potential. The same thing applies with being a teacher. All of these bright young students ready to learn. They are here, they want to pursue the knowledge, and they want to use that knowledge and become something better. So why would you as the teacher not only deny them that privilege, but also make them feel ashamed of wanting to pursue that privilege? That is the problem that we have right now, especially in nerd culture and in hip-hop culture. Because right now there are a lot of elitists in the nerd space, and it's not even because of intellect anymore. They genuinely just believe that they're superior because I guess the show that they watch, they believe it's better than other shows, and they'll be like, oh, you like Steven Universe, or oh, you like the original X-Men cartoon? Ugh, baby, you're fucking you're uncultured. Like, oh, you don't like Rick and Morty? It's because you're not smart enough to understand the nuance. And it's like, first of all, who asked? Second of all, who the fuck are you? What right do you have to judge me as a person just because I like something that's different from you? Just because you think that you're on that level intellectually. It's like, yeah, you may be on that level intellectually, but the fact that you're sitting around gloating about it instead of putting it to some fucking use shows you how really stupid you are. Like, the same energy that you're putting into being a condescending jackass, you could put into actually applying that knowledge and giving that wealth of knowledge to somebody who may need to use it. Or, you know, recommending somebody a show. It's all in how you sell it. It's all in how you package it. Like, when I recommend shows to people and I know they don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, I'll walk them through the plot a little bit and I'll give them a little bit of context. And I'll be like, so this world exists where this, and this happens. And it, you know, when they get into it more because they can digest the information and they're like, oh, that sounds really cool. I might get into that. And then they do, and they're like, oh my god, I can't believe you recommended me that. That show was fucking amazing. I recommended it to my mom and her cousin and my aunt and her sister, and I recommended it to my little cousins. Just there, the connection right there. That's what it's about. Music has always been about connection. It has. And like I said, if you can't reach your audience on a fundamental emotional level, then you have already failed. Because that's the whole point of music, is to invoke emotion and to share emotions. Putting emotions that are too complex to be put into words and somehow putting it into words. Wordsmiths, lyricists, weaving the power of words, weaving the power of literature in order to convey complex emotion. There, Lupe, I said it in your language. But, like, I'm not gonna say, oh, well, I don't know if you guys understood that, because I'm not insulting their fucking intelligence, bro. Even if somebody doesn't know, Google. Hello, we're in the age of information. A simple Google search can tell you everything you need to know. And I've said this, but I'm still gonna give people that knowledge because sometimes people don't want to look at Google. They don't want a fucking robot to tell them what their reality is. They would rather a real fucking human say it. And if the human is being a dick, then of course they're gonna turn to artificial intelligence, jackass. Because you're being a bad teacher. Like, if the human experience is so fucking awful, of course people are gonna switch to robots to find out something. And that also is where you fail, because you've already neutered that human connection. Noah's in everybody's lives, bro. That's the homie right there. He is a supporter through and through. Like, I see him everywhere. Shout out to Noah. That's a Rough Ryder for sure. For shit show. Alright, so we're gonna move you over here. They want theirs. What the fuck is the French? It's French? Is that a French brew? What is that? It's not Colombian, is it? I'm pretty sure is that the French flag, y'all? Am I just stupid? I'm not good with flags. Because that was just a thing that they didn't really teach in school that much. I know the Pythagorean theorem like the back of my fucking hand, but when it comes to... I had to teach myself how to do taxes. Because the schools never taught it. Alright, so I can take his order real quick. Noah's just in here roasting the absolute dog shit out of fucking Lupe and Elle. He's been roasting them for the past hour. With, you know what? Impressive. Oh, I didn't even buy a doorbell. Whoops, no wonder I can't tell when these people are coming in. That is the French flag? Okay, cool. I thought I was, okay. So I'm not dumb. I know my flags. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Alright, I can go. Now let's start brewing. Now we need our strawberry milk. Yes, I said milk. I know it's milk. I've had this discussion before. People who have seen that video too is hilarious. If the man needs some milk, the man needs some milk. Alright, and he wanted espresso. But yeah, when it boils down to it, intellectualism should not be something that's used as a weapon, especially in the hip-hop space, especially when that same intellectualism has been weaponized against our people for so long. I just don't think that's fair. It's not fair to our own people, because that's not what our ancestors wanted. They wanted knowledge to be shared with everybody, not just gatekept to a certain community of people, because they understood how much power knowledge held, and they understood that how imperative it was to share that knowledge with the community, because the white people were trying so hard to keep it from them. So they're like, well, if they're trying this hard to keep it from us, it must be pretty important. Which is why even slaves, they revolted against it. They learned how to read in secret. And you know what they used to learn how to read? The Bible. They used the own white man system against them. To middle finger was like, oh, you don't want us to learn how to read? Well, we're gonna use your own text and we're gonna spite you and we're gonna learn how to read anyway. So that way we know what you're saying. That way you can't continue to hold us down in ignorance. And you can't continue to manipulate the masses, because there are people who speak your language now and can point you out for being crooked. That is the whole point of why Black people started educating themselves, was because they were tired of being oppressed mentally. Alright, so I need regular whipped cream for this, and plum sauce? Plum syrup, I guess this is. Alright, and we're gonna... strawberry. Bam. You want the chocolate shavings? That's pretty as fuck, actually. Alright, go on. Go forth and be great. 83. Lame. Alright, well, we're gonna do... They want chocolate syrup. And pistachio flakes. What up, Chester? Mentioned Ms. Hummus. Yeah, and that's also a thing that I don't like, is attacking other people just because their opinion doesn't match yours. Like, I said what I had to say because the behavior that I was viewing was very dangerous. And it was reminding me too much of experiences that I've gone through personally. And that's the whole point of why I don't gatekeep knowledge, is because if you withhold knowledge, then you're only dooming that cycle to repeat. You're only dooming people to repeat that same cycle of ignorance. Because, like I said, ignorance does not mean stupidity. Ignorance only means a lack of information. When you don't apply that information, if you have the information and you don't apply it, that's when you bridge into stupid territory. Alright, so this one, I need a chocolate cannoli, whipped cream, and pistachio flakes. Bam. That was clean as fuck. I didn't even have a time to come out. Don't even have Lupe come answer your challenge. I squash him just like Koala did. And that's the thing. I even said on my live, I like Lupe's music. I will continue to listen to his old music because it was a different time. Alright, let me see. This is ready. This is ready. This is ready. Let me see. Lip cream. Because it was a different time. It's like, it was genuinely motivational. The lyrics were very impactful. They were very profound. You know, even the average listener could get some sort of emotional connection out of it. That was the point. Is that you don't have to be intelligent in order to experience emotions. And I think that's something that a lot of people have lost, especially within the hip-hop community. They think that in order to have an emotional connection, you have to be smart. You have to be super intelligent or super technical. No. Because emotions are very simple. They've always been simple. Like, it's literal, it's the simplest math that you could ever do in your entire life. Basic equation. Oh wait, that's regular milk. I need soy milk. It's bad thing plus person equals sad. Or bad thing plus person equals angry. It all depends on the context of the situation. Alright, he wants this French brew. Wee wee. I wish they had baguette gummies. Like crushed baguette. Oh, that'd be so so racist. Alright, and they want ice in theirs too. Okay. Ah, fuck! I put it on the wrong side. Oh well. You know what? It should be fine. Alright, and they want pistachio flakes. And then they want a waffle cannoli. Bam. And pistachios on this side. Pistachios on that side. But I'm gonna be wrapping up here pretty soon. I just wanted to have this discussion because I think it's important. It's an important discussion to have. And then people from my replay gang, shout out to my replay gang. If you guys are watching / listening to this later on, shout out to you guys. Because I think this information needs to get out there. Because, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and hoard all of this useless knowledge and just to not give it to people who could actually apply it to their life. No, because then what does that say about me as a person? That, you know, I have the information, I just choose not to share it with you guys for some selfish reason. Why would I do that? That's not okay. It's like if you know, hey, if you cross the street against the light, you're gonna get hit. Why would I sit there and let somebody who doesn't know that, like a child, why would I sit there and let that child run out into the middle of the street to get hit by a car if they don't know that red light equals dangerous? That's how you teach them. You pull them aside and you be like, and you tell them, no, oh my God, no, red equals bad. Do not cross on red. And they learn that shit in schools too. Like, if the schools didn't exist to teach people like red means stop and green means go, ironically, that's why you have a lot of people who don't understand or value consent. Because they grew up being taught that red does not in fact mean stop. That red means go. Red means do whatever the fuck you want. If somebody says no, that means you keep going. That doesn't mean respect their boundaries and their consent as an individual. Red means hit that bitch full throttle. That's what y'all have been teaching our young people. That's why these niggas don't know how to value consent. That's why they grew up shaming our women for turning somebody down that they didn't like. Because we as a society have tried to gaslight women into thinking that, you know, that no doesn't mean no. That is, and again, that's a harmful thing to perpetuate. That is a harmful message. Because you're basically teaching our young boys that it doesn't matter if the woman says no. You as a man have the right to keep going even when she's made it clear that she doesn't like you. And that's that entitlement that gets set in there. That's that entitlement. that feeling that they are entitled to this person physically or emotionally or mentally, even after they have outright rejected them, or even though they haven't given them the same energy that they're giving them. They take that lack of energy as a green light, even though it's not. It's a red light. They'll take a red light as a green light, and they'll still fucking go. That's why you have accidents. Because these people don't understand what red means. But how would they know if nobody ever told them? Or how would they understand that if nobody taught them correctly? It's that passing of knowledge that eventually ends up shaping what happens in the future. That's why I believe that giving the gift of knowledge is so important, especially in our community, especially in the Black community, where we fought and bled and fucking cried and sacrificed to be able to even have the gift of knowledge to begin with. And you're gonna sit there and fucking gatekeep that knowledge to what? Make yourself feel superior? Okay, white man. You can keep doing that all you want, but at the end of the day, you're no better than those fucking founding fathers who voted against Black people being able to read, and those people in Congress back then who voted against Black people going to the same schools as white kids because they didn't think that they were worth getting the same education as them. You could keep peddling that colonizer mentality all you want. And don't say, oh, you're just misinterpreting it incorrectly, because that's exactly, I am interpreting, I know what I see. I have the knowledge to be able to distinguish right from wrong. You are not going to sit here and tell me that my basic instinct to tell the difference between right and wrong is incorrect. Because unfortunately for these gaslighters out here, I know my own reality. I know what's real. I know my place in the universe. And I was only able to achieve that from going to therapy. That's why I argued that therapy is so important. It is. Because the mind will trick itself. But if you have a solid support system and a solid foundation to keep you grounded and to remind you that your reality is in fact real, that goes a long way. Especially as a woman, as a woman who knows that she deserves better. Not letting the world and not letting these ignorant manipulators try and gaslight us into thinking that we don't deserve better. And we do. Another catchphrase on my channel is, you are worth the respect that you demand. You are. If you want respect as a human being, you are entitled to that. Because respect is a two-way street. It is. We're gonna skip this for now. We're gonna do one more. Oh, time to hire help? Oh shit. Okay. Let's get a Kari in here. I gotta restart because I gotta go back to the shop and actually I gotta get a doorbell so I know when people are coming in. Alright, we're on day 5. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to restart this whole day. Yes. Play. Go here. Where's the store? Is this... Shit, that's not it. How do I get to the store? Oh, duh. The one that says shop. I was looking in the wrong place. So, I have $56. What is this, 90? Damn, and it's like entirely tip-based. Oh, and I just got to payday too. Oh, this is so obnoxious. Oh my god. Well, at least I have a doorbell now. So I know when people are coming in. Do not go to 63rd Street. What up, Kingsley, my dog? But I wanted to talk about a story that I read back in, when did I think it was high school. It was either high school or middle school, one of those. And it's called Flowers for Algernon. And it's a story about a man who is like clinically, I'll use the term in its purest form. This is not meant as a slur. This is not meant to demean anybody, but he was like clinically retarded. His IQ was well below the requirement in order to function in society. And even though he was like in his, in his late 30s, he had the mentality of roughly a 4-year-old. Like, that was he was at the intellectual level of a 4-year-old as a 35-year-old man. So he was in like the special needs classes. He had a special teacher that was specifically designed to teach people with those types of mental disabilities. And he signed up for some sort of scientific experiment where it was an experiment to increase intelligence. And they'd already tested it on this lab rat named Algernon. So the whole story is basically told from the perspective of this man, Charlie, in the form of logs. Because he was given a journal, and he was told to write every day in the journal, write all of his thoughts and all of his feelings. And as the experiment progressed, they advised him to keep writing in the journal as like kind of something, a visual medium, to see how his intelligence increased over time and to see like where it started from. So it starts off, he's got very poor spelling. He's not good at taking like the Rorschach tests, where you have the ink blots and you have to see what the mind comes up with. It's all left up to interpretation, and like he genuinely didn't understand how it worked, because again, he had the mental capacity of a 4-year-old. But even then, the scientists and his teacher, the only people who really treated him disrespectfully were the people at his job. And even in the beginning, he talks about how his coworkers and everything like to joke around with him. But then when he describes the joke, you as the person, as the intellectual who is, intellectually higher than him, would understand that they're making fun of him. He's the butt of their jokes. Like, they genuinely think this man is just dumb as a bag of hammers, happy to be here, and they make fun of him ruthlessly. But he doesn't understand that they're making fun of him. He thinks they're his friends and that they genuinely like him. And so as the thing progresses, he becomes more intelligent. He starts seeing what we were seeing from the beginning, that people looked down on him or even treated him with straight up contempt and bullied him just because, he was differently abled, just because he wasn't smart enough to understand what was going on. And it was that sudden awareness that every child goes through, where they realize that no, not everybody is your friend, and no, he didn't understand it. He couldn't quite put it into words, but he could tell that he was not comfortable with the way they were joking around with him. And so that was like him literally waking up and realizing, oh shit, they don't respect me as a person. And that's very isolating. That's very, very depressing and very isolating to know that there are people here these people you thought were your friends, only to realize the only reason they had you around was so that they can make themselves feel smarter by comparison, so they could bully you and use you as the butt of their jokes. So as time goes on, he becomes more and more and more intelligent. His vocabulary increases. He's understanding conversations between the scientists that have worked on him. He's learned different languages now. And he's even developed an interest in his teacher, because just like he's his intelligence has increased so much that he is experiencing essentially life. He's going through the stages of starting off as this blissfully ignorant, childlike person and evolving into a grown fucking man, and then eventually into like a Harvard level intellectual. But then he ends up ostracizing himself from the people at his job. You know, the people who he worked with. He ends up ostracizing himself even further because now they feel intimidated by his intelligence and they want nothing to do with him. So later on in the story, he finds out that the lab rat they initially tested this surgery on, Algernon, has died. He's dead. And they don't know why, but they noticed, well, no, he didn't notice that he died. He noticed that his behavior began to deteriorate rapidly. It's almost like he went feral. Because he noticed, because when he was playing with the rat, he bit him just out of nowhere for no reason. And this rat has the same intelligence as this man, if not more. But the rat bites him, and he's like, "Oh no, oh that's not good." So the scientists, they realize, "Oh shit, the intelligence is temporary." And not just temporary, it's going to cause a rapid decline in intelligence. The brain is literally going to deteriorate until you eventually just die. So you're going to go through rapid on-stage Alzheimer's and you're going to die. That is his future. And so from then on, all of the logs are of him desperately trying to record all of the knowledge that he obtained so he could share it with somebody else. And as time goes on, his spelling gets worse. He starts forgetting things. He starts forgetting long-term things, short-term things, and his brain eventually withers until he becomes even more isolated. He shuts himself away. He pushes all the people that cared about him away because he's genuinely ashamed of the way his brain is deteriorating. And it was fascinating to me because it really showed you that it doesn't matter how intelligent you become. If you don't use that intelligence to its fullest potential, and if you don't actively try and give somebody the gift of knowledge and pass it on, it will eventually become useless. Because you'll ostracize yourself. You'll put yourself on an island. Nobody will want to talk to you. And because you develop this superioristic attitude, this haughty ass attitude where you think you're genuinely better than everybody else. And it's isolating. It's not okay. And so he eventually gets to the point where he starts, questioning his life choices. He starts regretting ever doing the test to begin with, because he's like, now everybody that I know and love wants nothing to do with me. Maybe it was better that I lived in blissful ignorance. Maybe it was better had I not taken this test at all, because even though people made fun of me and people looked down on me for being stupid, I was at least happy because, I was at least happy living in that ignorance, and it really, really hammered in that message of ignorance at its core truly is bliss. And it's such a good story. It's very short. A lot of the terminology that was in it, I didn't really know, so I had to look it up. But it really just shows you the power that intellect does not mean, it's not everything. Oh, whoops, wrong thing. You want the milk first. You can have as much intellect as you can, but if you can't make emotional connections with people or use that intelligence to make emotional connections with people, then it's useless. It's just useless knowledge that is being unused. It's just sitting in the corner. It's like being a hoarder. A bunch of memorabilia, a bunch of things that you don't use anymore, that's just sitting in the corner of the attic, getting old and decrepit and dusty and fucking getting chewed out by termites and shit. Because if it's not getting some use, then what is the point? If it's not being passed down to the next generation in some way, shape, or form, then what is the point of it existing? Knowledge is the same way, especially in hip hop, because the whole point of hip hop is to share your life experiences and to share your stories. It's people who grew up in these horrid conditions, you know, who are like, you won't understand the life that I live unless I just tell you. And I'm gonna try to tell you as much as I can and let the music speak for me. Instead of me just sitting here trying to explain what's going on, I'll let the combined efforts of the lyrics and the music tell my story for me. And it's the music that acts as the emotional tether. It's the impact of the words that acts as the emotional tether. That's why music hits so much deeper on an emotional level, and that's why all of your rap songs are put to music that reflect the same emotions that are being spoken about in the lyrics. Good music, I'll say, because there's a lot of music out there that is just mindless noise. There is no purpose to it. There's no rhyme or reason, and there's a lot of it that I'll get into it later. But true music and true musicians who have a story to tell will always strive for that emotional connection, because it's the connection with the audience that truly matters. Because you can just tell somebody anything and, you know, eventually they'll forget it. You know, because it's just information that's given to them, like, oh, okay, sure, you grew up in this part, you know. But if you're able to connect with them emotionally and take in that information, you can literally make that person feel as though they are living what you're experiencing. You can put them in your shoes and they can see the world through your eyes, through not just the lyricism, but also the music and the power of written word. Poets have been doing this for ages, weaving words together so that people can literally see the world through their eyes. Literature has done this too. Fantasy, sci-fi, you know, science, fucking romance, it doesn't matter. Action, comedies, even comedians. That's why they write their own jokes, because it's all based off of personal experience. Oh, yeah, there we go. And if they can't connect with you on an emotional level, then the message that you're trying to give is just words. It's just words on a beat. But here's the good thing, is that even if it is just words on a beat, people will apply their own life experiences to it and their own thoughts and feelings to it regardless. People will try to connect with it on an emotional level. And that's how you get different interpretations of different songs, of different different lyrics, I know I took way too long. My bad, Quinn. I know you're on a schedule, bitch. But like, fuck you. I'm trying to say some shit here. You rap like you have a sinus infection in the head, Cole. I feel like this is like the yin and yang right now. This is like the anger translator from Key and Peele, where like I'm being very neutral, very objective about things, and Noah's just roasting them. Just roasting these motherfuckers. Just, you know what? Roast away, brother. Roast away. You are very much entitled to roast as you please. It's not necessarily I guess it is a psychological horror, but the whole point of the story that I wanted to give, like the reason why I'm bringing this story up, is that the problem with intellectualism is not the fact that we have people who are intelligent in our culture. It's the fact that those people with intelligence want to gatekeep and isolate themselves away from the uninformed. instead of doing what knowledge was meant to do and gifting that knowledge to the masses. And they want to act like they're superior just because they have all of this skill and they have all of this knowledge, while also retaining a teaching position. So it's like, how do you... And then I could see sparks of it. I could see it. Because this is the one part of the Koala live stream that I paid attention to. And I could see the switch where Lupe was being very condescending. But the moment he got into his teaching persona and his teaching bag, the energy switched. It wasn't him talking down to somebody. It was like, it felt like he was addressing a classroom full of students and he was walking them through his thought process. I saw just the teeniest, tiniest bit of self-awareness in that, in the way he teaches. And I'll admit, he's good at what he does. Teaching comes very naturally to him. But that is at its core the most important fundamental of teaching, is not making your students feel stupid when you're giving them the knowledge. Walking them through your thought process so that they can understand the material the way you do. That is the point of teaching anything to anybody, MIT professor or not. And so the war that's happening here is that there are a lot, and I'll put Kendrick Stans on the chopping block for this one. Y'all are the biggest culprits of this intellectual elitism. Y'all are the biggest culprits. I'm sorry, K-Dot. Like I said, you're my baby daddy, but your music has created a lot of intellectual elitist motherfuckers. And I gladly read y'all to filth. When I was in Deleted Server, he asked a question. He said, who do you think has the worst stan base? And why? I don't know. It was like, what do you think is wrong? What's your criticism of the Kendrick stan base? What is your problem with Kendrick stans? And I read them to filth. I said, Kendrick stans are the most condescending, uppity, haughty, arrogant, elitist motherfuckers you could ever come across, because they think that just because they listen to and understand Kendrick's music, that makes them intellectually superior to the people around them. And I psychoanalyzed the fuck out of them. I was like, this is all just to satisfy some deep, dark, subconscious insecurities that they hold deep in the back of their minds. Like, understanding Kendrick's lyrics is some essence of that, is some part of themselves that they feel they can grab onto. They grasp at whatever makes them feel superior, because they genuinely don't want to feel like they're not smart enough to understand. And so it's just Kendrick stans. That's why I was so critical of Lupe's actions, because it reminded me of how Kendrick stans act. That's what it is. And it's, you see the behaviors on Twitter. The ones who think that, because they can overanalyze, or the ones that, that liked Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers when it came out, that puts them above everybody else. Because they're just like, oh, you're just too ignorant to understand. You're not opening your mind. You can tell people to open their minds all you want, but if you're going to be elitist about it, you're going to make people not want to do the thing that you're wanting them to do. So instead of gatekeeping and being like, well, you should be smart enough to understand this, why don't you just walk them through the thought process? Show them why it is so impactful, instead of just telling them why it's so impactful. Walk them through Kendrick's lyrics, walk them through your thought process, and connect it. Make a connection, compare and contrast, empathize. Be like, you've ever been through a situation where blah blah blah, and that feeling is the same feeling that Kendrick was trying to get across when blah blah blah. And that's how you form a connection. Because when people can relate to something on an emotional level, they keep that with them. They don't forget that. They don't just, vibe with something on a deep sub level and then throw it away. Because now it's already ingrained in the subconscious. Now it's staying with them. So if you want this knowledge to stay with them, the last thing you want to do is give it a negative connotation or make them feel ashamed to want to acquire that knowledge, because now you've already sowed that seed of inferiority within them, and the vicious cycle continues and continues and continues. Intellectuals, especially intellectuals in the hip-hop space, it's time for y'all to break that cycle. It is. It's time to break the cycle of condescension and superiority complex and inferiority complex and being fucking judgmental and demeaning and dehumanizing people just because they don't share the same knowledge that you have. It's time to stop. Because if we want our culture to get better, if we want to improve ourselves as a culture, it starts with us. It starts with us. We have to make that change. In the words of Michael Jackson, I'm starting with the man in the mirror, or rather the woman in the mirror, because my breasts are the size of Ohio. So start with the man in the mirror. Okay, we're using man as a gender neutral term here. Alphabet Mafia, y'all fucking settle down. Step off, you rabid hyenas. Start with the man in the mirror if you want to make that change. Michael said it. How is it that Michael Jackson knew this shit, but somehow fucking somebody who's Ivy League educated can't seem to get such a simple fucking concept? People who are college educated can't understand the simple concept of being a decent human. And people who are college educated are enabling and trying to explain away people who don't understand the concept of being a decent human being. It's not rocket science to be a good fucking person. It costs $0 and 0 cents to be a decent human being. You have all the money in the world, Lupe. What's stopping you? Why is it and that's why Jesus said it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Because y'all done let that fucking money and that status and that intellect corrupt you. And you think you're better than the common man just because you have all these things that they don't. But you want to scream and bitch and whine because, black people are still being discriminated against. Because white people are thinking about us the exact same way that you think about people that are not as smart as you. The sooner we get rid of this white colonizer mentality, the sooner our community can finally fucking heal. You can say that we need to heal as a society all you want, but if you're not actively doing your part, then it's just words. You're just screaming into the void. You're screaming at a brick wall, wondering why that bitch won't move. And then the people that have the construction equipment to move it, you're belittling them because, what, they're not college educated and you are? Last time I checked, you don't need a fucking Ivy League degree to fix a car. You don't need an Ivy League degree to drive a car. You don't need an Ivy League degree to fix toilets. You don't need an Ivy League degree to do hair or paint or make music or do literally anything, any sort of trade. Last time I checked, you don't need an Ivy League degree to do trades. If you needed to go to Harvard to be a plumber, there'd be a lot of intellectual motherfucking plumbers. There would be. But you don't. Because it doesn't require extensive fucking calculus level book knowledge. All you need to know is about everything that specific field entails. It doesn't make you stupid just because you didn't graduate with a college degree. There's a lot of people out here with college degrees that can't even use that college degree because of this system that has been so systematically rigged against them. Having a college degree is useless nowadays unless you're pursuing something that you're genuinely passionate about. Because a lot of times they'll say you're overqualified for this position just because you have a bachelor's in business administration, or you have a PhD in music theory, or you have a fucking doctorate or a fucking master's degree in psychology or in this. It is very, very hard to use the degrees that you worked so hard for in this day and age. Honestly, having a college degree is a privilege. You know how much money it is each semester, even with sponsorships and even with scholarships? Being college educated is a fucking privilege. When back then it was commonplace. It was common for black folks to be college educated. Now we'd be lucky if we even went to community college. But here's the thing. It's not about a lack of a degree or a lack of an Ivy League education. The real inspiration, the real muses of our society rarely come in the form of college-educated, studious individuals. They come from people at the bottom. People who grew up with little to nothing. People who had very little resources and ended up making the most out of those little resources. People who knew that they were, that they didn't have as much as the next person. And instead of whining and bitching and complaining about it, they applied the knowledge that they had and they made something timeless. And they made something amazing. They made something creative. They made something impactful. And that's what I'm saying, like, credentials don't mean shit. They don't. You can be as college educated as the next person. But if you don't have the ability to really apply that knowledge and be something beneficial for our society, what the fuck do you have all that knowledge for? At some point, us as intellectuals, we need to stop asking ourselves what we have. We need to stop telling people what we have and start asking ourselves why we have it. Why do we have this intelligence? Why do we pursue this knowledge? Why do we pursue higher education? Why? And once you answer that question, everything else starts to fall into place. I'm gonna switch to this screen here because I'm getting ready to close. In closing, the truest form of intelligence is not how many degrees you have, not how many credentials you have, not how many college textbooks you've read from cover to cover. The truest form of intelligence comes from being able to use what you already have to the best of your ability and making a strong impact on the people around you. Having something that you can pass down to not just your own legacy, but to other people, so they can pass it down to their legacy. And so that we as a community can heal and enrich itself through what? Knowledge. So I ask you, Lupe, why do you have a teaching position at MIT? Why do you teach the subjects that you teach at MIT and at the Peabody Institute? Why? And I'm not asking this because I don't know the answer. I'm asking so that you can look within yourself and find that answer. Because that is how people discover their purpose in life. Why are you here? Why do you do the things that you do? Why did you pursue the career that you pursued? Answer those questions, and maybe you will be able to finally become a better person and actually positively influence the people around you. But I didn't mean to yap on and on like this. I know I didn't even worry about making the drinks anymore, just because I kind of wanted to sit here and really have a face to face, heart to heart discussion. And I can't really do that if I'm distracted. So thank you to everybody that came through. Thank you to the people that subscribe to the channel. Thank you to my Rough Riders for pulling through. For Lou, Sarah, Noah, even Lupe, man. Shout out to you. Because I'm using this subject to actually educate and inspire people to do better with their lives, with themselves, with their education, with their public relations. So at the end of the day, thank you, bro. You inspired me to really look within myself and ask myself, why are you here? And, it used to not be a very easy question to ask because, I grew up being bullied a lot. I grew up having my self-worth constantly put into question. And so when I sit here and I ask myself, why am I here on YouTube? Why did I put this video out? Why do I make the content that I make? I remind myself that knowledge is power, yes, but the power comes not in hoarding it all for yourself. It comes in sharing that knowledge with other people and seeing the positive impact that that knowledge can have on your community. And that's a beautiful thing to me. I gain genuine satisfaction from seeing people learning something new, especially if I'm the one that provided them that knowledge, because it made their life a little easier. And that's all I'm really setting out to do, is inform, educate, and entertain, all in one little neat black and green colored gift basket. Because black is the most gorgeous color. It always will be. But again, I would have never understood that if, I wasn't taught, if I didn't go and actively seek out the knowledge about what makes goth and what makes the color black so special. Because it's not about college textbooks. It's not about reading, all of this fucking Ivy League curriculum. It's about the people, especially with music. It's always been about the people. It's always been about the connection between artist and art consumers. So having credentials doesn't make us any less qualified to give our opinions on music, because that's what music is for. You can't put an equation on music, because the emotions that people get from it is entirely subjective. And last time I checked, you can't put an equation on feelings and thoughts. You can't legitimize you can't put feelings on a chart, on a graph. You can't put feelings in a graphics calculator and have it spit out an equation, because you cannot compute human emotion. And that is why humans and AI will be forever separated. That is why you cannot ever replicate human emotions with AI or intellect. Doesn't matter. You can have all the intelligence in the world, but if the emotion's there, if the emotion's not there, then what do you have the intelligence for? This is a fun live and informative too. I'm glad. I'm so glad because I just don't want to make other people feel the way I was made to feel by some people because I wanted to pursue knowledge, because I was curious, because I asked questions. And a lot of times people made me feel stupid for asking. And I would never want to make anybody feel like they can't ask a question or they can't gain knowledge. I don't ever want somebody to feel like they're unworthy of pursuing knowledge in any form, because I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, because it's dehumanizing, and our ancestors were made to feel like that. So why would I in good faith, why would I continue that cycle? I'm going to choose to continue the good parts of that cycle through education, through insight, through knowledge, through wisdom, through experience, because I know my self-worth. I know where I came from. I know what my reality, I know what my life could have been. I know that I was put on this earth for a reason. That God said, no, you will not die today. You still have a long life to live, honey. I'm not going to let these seizures fry your brain, because I need you out here in the field so that you can discover your purpose and inspire others to discover theirs. That is my purpose. I am here to educate and inspire. But I also had to learn to inspire myself, because I'm worth it. Just like how every single person here, you're all worth it. Everybody in the hip hop community, you're all worth it. And people in the music community in general, you are all worth it. You're worth the respect and the insight and the fucking admiration. You're worth everything. You are worth waking up in the morning. That is just universal. Because we're humans. We're all humans. This is our world. We have to share it. So why would I spend my second chance at life putting down people who don't measure up to my expectations? Why would I waste that? Why would I give a middle finger to God for giving me a second chance at life? And for people who have all this intelligence, why would you give a middle finger to the entity that gave you this intelligence to begin with by putting other people down because they don't meet your personal expectations? Something to ponder. But as always, I have been Nixus, and I will catch you guys in the next live stream. Have a good night, guys.